Dreams are cool. I love dreams. One of my go-to icebreakers for meeting people is to ask them what's the weirdest dream they've ever had. I've talked about them before, so I thought, hell, why not share some? A few years ago, I used to keep a dream journal, but eventually I stopped because they got more boring and I just couldn't be arsed. So usually I just dump all of them in my best friend's DMs now. Which brings me to the one I'm about to talk about. Nearly all of my dreams have video game mechanics, and this one was no different. It started in this giant grass field surrounded by forest that was fenced off. It was sort of this rundown post-apocalyptic little society that only had dirty wood cabins, and at one of the walls there was a giant gate connecting to a massive concrete complex that was completely empty on the outside, and it was locked. There was definitely more events leading to how I ended up here, but I don't remember. This whole society was controlled by this one vampire dude who insisted a bunch of rules like not having any outside items or money in order to keep everyone equal or something. It wasn't until later in the dream that it was revealed these rules were only in place so the gate never opened. I don't know the exact logic behind it, but it was probably like something something human greed something something Pandora's box triggering the door to open. Apparently the communist vampire guy wasn't even the highest of the higher-ups, which I'll get to later. It started out pretty average. Of course it had weird dream elements that didn't make any sense. Like I think early when I spawned into this place, I was with this giant orc who was apparently my brother. Genuinely, I have an actual brother and he has no resemblance to this dude. But just in the dream, I was convinced I was somehow related to this orc. He lived sort of off to the side in society because he was a little freak, but nobody bothered him because he didn't break any rules. Also, he's an orc, and for some reason he was really obsessed with cooking. I would be afraid too. He lived in this musty old concrete shack with no roof, and all it had was a kitchen and an empty upstairs room. Anyways, I was chilling until this blonde Karen secretary-looking ass lady comes and says I need to do mandatory community service. And she was my supervisor. Of course my brother didn't have to because he's an orc and everyone is scared of him, but I obliged because I am the main character. The tasks were task-like. The tasks involved doing tasks for the task people and meeting task quotas for various tasks. Tasks are actionable pieces of work that need to be accomplished, often within a certain deadline. There were only a few tasks that I was tasked to do, but the final task was the most important. Apparently these were all to prove your loyalty to the society, so the last one involved searching all the tall grass for illegal materials, of which there were supposed to be none. When lo and behold, chillin' in the grass, was a purse. I look at my supervisor, she looks at me, the other people doing tasks look at me, and suddenly we're finding wallets and purses all up in the grass like it's Mary Poppins. Now, obviously, everyone starts geeking out and picking them up for themselves until the big papa vampire shows up. When I tell you this guy was a yapper, holy bro, he was furious. This guy goes on a whole speech about how this is why nobody's allowed to have anything. If you don't turn in the items, you're a traitor, you don't realize what you've done, your mom never loved you, etc., etc. And by now there was a decent portion of people who simply wanted to overthrow the dude. Our communist vampire cult leader then told all his sympathizers to kill any traitors, and eventually everyone started fighting. Amidst the crowd, I noticed text pop up on the bottom of my screen. It said, "The gate is open." So me and some other guy go inside the gate where I am met with this giant room with white wooden walls that I can only describe as Junji Ito adjacent. It looked like someone's shitty Roblox horror game lobby with a door in the middle leading to the next room. The dude I was with opened the next room, which was basically the same but entirely red with a giant eldritch horror inside, which I am assuming to be the vampire things who are controlling everything. So obviously I said fuck that and went back out of the gate where I ran to the nearest river with a crowd of brainwashed people following me with guns. At this point it was pretty much a dead end, so I see two options pop up on my screen. Do I A, kill them, or B, kill myself? Unfortunately, option B didn't work, because whenever I chose it, it just made some dude's facecam pop up in the corner to choose the other option. I did manage to get away, and by this point it was clear that I was supposed to go through the gate and complete the game, but it seemed like I really threw the devs in for a loop, so they were trying to make it up as I went on with my tomfoolery. But I was still running from a mob of cultists. That's when I remembered. I know a giant hulking orc that everyone is afraid of, and he's my brother. By the time I made it to his place, most of the cultists got bored and targeted some other people, but one dude stayed on my tail. My brother let me hide upstairs, but he was busy cooking something when the other guy arrived. After trying to negotiate with my orc brother, he looks the dude who followed me dead in the eyes and goes, "You must cook." This green piglin just told the dude that if he cooked something for him and he didn't like it, he would slime him out right then and there. So I'm chilling upstairs watching these two cook. Meanwhile, the guy who followed me is shaking in his boots like it's Master Chef. I was pretty confident my brother had my back, so I wasn't too worried. Plus, I doubt this guy knew how to cook, so eventually when my green home slice gave him a 3 out of 10, he scampered off. And from then on, I don't really remember what happened. I know I ended up escaping into the woods with Bro, which definitely wasn't the official ending because somehow in my dream I had time to look up a tutorial on how to beat the Eldritch Room, and I was also in my house, and then I woke up.